How you doing, YouTube? Matt Nassa Beers. Back with, oh, my microphone's not working. God damn it. I hate when this, hold on. There we go. Let's see if that works. Hey, there we go. Now the microphone's working. Okay. Man, why do I have to make everything so goddamn complicated? You know? It's like one of those things. I don't know. I'm just ill prepared for me to be ready to do stuff, especially when I do stuff last second. So, I came home today, and I kind of wanted to. Somebody just called me. Who the hell would call me? Someone called me from Dover, PA. I don't know who that is. Isn't that weird? I mean, not to be like take this like totally off topic, but it just phone culture is weird. Who the fuck calls people without like scheduling something, man? That's just crazy talk. Anyway, came home today. I work home from Fridays, so this is kind of like an ease into the weekend kind of thing for me. And I kind of wanted to do a beer review, but I didn't want to do beer reviews. Like typically when I do beer reviews, what I do is I'll pick one or two or three out of a fridge, and then I'll sit in this room here and yammer into the camera and have all that kind of fun. That changed a little bit for me, even though that's still the same kind of schedule for me. A bulk of what I do is a lot more of like hanging out with the kid when I get home, kind of doing what I need to do. But at time, the time comes to where I want to actually sit down and kind of record a beer review. I don't want to do a bunch of them, but sometimes I just want to do a beer. And I'm like, why not just do it live? If you can do one beer, might as well do it live. So that's what we're doing here. I actually picked this up today. This is a 2018 vintage of Dark Age from Wicked Weed. Wicked Weed sold to, or AB InBev purchased Wicked Weed in 2017. Yeah, it sucked for a lot of different people. And I don't do a ton of AB InBev stuff. I'll do Bourbon County and things like that from time to time, but I don't know how long this is barrel aged. So it says here, it says Dark Age Imperial Stout emerges from a whiskey barrel. It's dark malt complexity and smooth sweetness softened by the oak, and black bean balsam coffee is an addition here, which is probably going to be lost. It doesn't tell you how long it's barrel aged. So there's a chance. There's a chance. So you mean there's a chance that this could be a Wicked Weed beer, not an AB InBev beer. You know, you talk about them purchasing them in the middle of 2017, and this is from the middle of 2018. If it's spent 12 months or so in barrels, more often than not, this beer might be just a Wicked Weed beer as opposed to an AB InBev Wicked Weed beer. Actually, that's what I tell myself, so I don't feel like, as Jeremy would put it, a traitor to the North Carolinians. But I'm going to do it anyway because I get to do it all. Then again, I'll drink some Miller High Life or some Labatt's on here too. So what am I going to do? I'm drinking a little bit of a primer. Gotta wake the palate up. A little bit of 5.5% pale ale, hazy pale ale from District 96, which is quite tasty. So, anyway, so yeah, so I figured I'd do this live. It's been a while since I've done a live review. I kind of want a big beer. I just found this off a shelf. What's up from Mike and Carol? She's out in Texas. What should she look out for? Mike can literally just text me like 5 seconds ago. Texas, Jester King, man. What else? What else you can look for in Texas? Texas Jester King, Spindle Tap. I mean, they have what's the brewery? Black is Beautiful Brewery is out that way. The people that initiated that, Weathered Souls, I believe. What else? There's a bunch of good Texas popping up, man. There's some lager places out there. Honestly, I don't know why I'm spacing so much. What else is really good from Texas? You know what I really like from Texas that I think is worth picking up? Barrel aged old barrel aged St. Arnold's. St. Arnold's barrel aged beers are banging, and they're kind of like a really old school brewery down there. And some of their stuff is absolutely fantastic. So there's some really good. I mean, Jester King's the obvious one, but yeah, Yeah. There you go. Lone Star. Pick yourself up some what's that shit? Shinerbach. There you go. Let's buy all the Shinerbach. We have Stephen Line chiming in saying, "Good evening, y'all. No stout in my glass, at least not yet. Time for some Tangle from Fox Farm. That does not suck either." So yeah. Figured I'd do a little live thing, hang out for a bit, do a quick review. It's not that quick of a review, and maybe do a little post chat and be out because I don't feel like hanging out all night, but I don't feel like leaving just yet. Beer stuff. So you saw a little road trip that I took with me and Keith, at Mr. 93 Lumber. We went to a bunch of different breweries, circled around the kind of Hudson Valley and Orange County of New York. I posted that yesterday. That was kind of the podcast of the week, is that putting that together. That was an asshole to put together, man. I hate doing those because there's so much editing and stuff like that. But it came out pretty good. Let's put it this way. It came out okay for me shooting from the hip. It wasn't something that I really kind of thought about up until the night before. And I was like, screw it. I'm not going to like go ape shit. Usually I'm like, I'll wire mics and I'll make sure I have all the microphones down, everything, blah, blah, blah. I'll tune in all the cameras. I got the shitty old Note 4 camera that has a halfway decent camera on it, or no 4 smartphone with a halfway decent camera on it. I got my GoPro, which I use for my live streams. Got my iPad, my iPhone. I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, I mounted that goddamn Note 4 on my dash. I put the GoPro in like the back of my car, looking outwards, and I just recorded the whole time I was driving. And when I walked into a brewery, I took my iPad and I slapped it down and I hit record. And then me and Keith just kind of sat there and talked the whole time. And it came out okay. I'll do it again. Someone actually suggested, and I think it's the smarter thing to do, is I usually on these trips where I hit up multiple different breweries, it's a lot in one day. So I think I'm going to do those on smaller trips, maybe 1 or 2 breweries, and showcase the breweries a little bit more. But I will agree with the 3DD, though. He said, crack that shit, son. That's right. Screw the talking. We'll read the label again, just for those that are playing long at home. So Dark Ages, bourbon barrel aged imperial stout brewed with coffee, 11.8% alcohol by volume. Dark aged coffee imperial stout emerges from this whiskey barrels. Its dark malt complexity and smooth sweetness softened by the evolution in the oak with black balsam coffee from mountain air roasting. So most of the coffee is most likely going to be gone in this sucker. I really do like the label. Wicked Weed label are pretty cool. They did the whole kind of Jester King thing where they match up the labels on the seams, and I dig them. So yeah, I can't tell you the last. Actually, you know what? That was a hiss. Either this is infected or this is not going to be all that oxidized. Last Jester King beer I had, or Jester King, I keep saying Jester King, Wicked Weed beer I had was a mystery beer. I think it might have been their Pernicious or something along those lines. That somebody sent a mystery beer. That's the last time I had it. Last time I consciously had a Wicked Weed beer, I could not tell you. So yeah, I mean, it looks the whole part of a stout. Carlos Pena, China, brother, if you got a rich imagination, give it a whirl, give it a try. Try getting on your YouTube, watching all the beers go by. Oh, my buddy Ken Chemin, I see your Bond shirt on. We're going to hate me because I never made it there 2 weeks ago. I told you, Ken is old school. He's like a legit in real life friend. He was like right down the street from Bond. He's like, we're at Fegley's. But I'm like, if you don't go to Bond, we can't be friends anymore. You can't be friends anymore. You're dead to me, dude. You're dead to me. No, that's not true. But yeah. Anyway, what's going on, homie? And then we have Tiger Fan saying when North Carolina had Wicked Weed Brewery in the airport. I mean, Wicked Weed breweries everywhere, but this is 2018. So something a little bit different. And FLX Beer Reviews chime in saying what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, so that looks like a bourbon barrel aged stout. Nice rich kind of head on it. I like my coffee to look like colored head, rich darkness to it. I mean, yeah, it's a stout. It pulled that part off quite nicely. Let's see what the nose has. That coffee's still there, man. At least aromatically, it's still there, which is super hyper impressive. Because like I said, this is a 2000, if you can see that, this is a 09/20/2018 bottle. And, to have that coffee presence on the nose 3 years, almost 3 years exactly later is kind of impressive. And it honestly, it kind of reminds me quite a bit of like, I don't want to say old school stout because it's not old school, but it reminds me of the time before Stout went bonkers, because it has this nice, rich, roasted malt component. Sure, that's probably propping some of that coffee up, so I'm getting a little bit more roasted malt from the beer as opposed to a coffee that's died off, but that coffee's still there, but it's being propped up by that roasted malt. There's a nice soft bourbon characteristic, nothing overly sweet. There's a lot of bittering going on in this beer. That's why I get kind of like pre-pastry stout kind of vibes off it. And it smells really nice. It does smell, and I know people laugh at me when I say this, it smells like it to be a little bit thin. There's something about it. Maybe it is a striking kind of oxidation, because oxidation is typically like kill that mouthfeel. But you look at that head and how it's sticking around. I'd be really surprised if it didn't have at least a halfway decent mouthfeel. I could be confusing it for fluffy and creamy as opposed to thin, but it's a nice big roasted component on it. Chocolate's there, kind of non-milk chocolate, kind of baker's chocolate with a little bit of sweetness to it. The bourbon's there, nothing too harsh. There's a smoky characteristic barrel charry chocolatiness to it. And that coffee's still lingering around. So let's dive in. Cheers. It's okay. It's definitely seen better days. All the components are there, but it definitely does have an oxidation issue going on with it, but not in like the more kind of kill the carbonation, dumb out all the vibrance of the beer kind of thing. It's definitely tempered the vibrance of the beer, but it's almost separated all the flavor points and profiles of the beer. Like there is a little bit of coffee left there, and it's very distinct. There is a roasted malt component, but it's very separated and distinct. Same thing with the bourbon. I was going to say same thing with the vanilla, but I think that vanilla is coming from the bourbon barrel. So I'd say the barrel, the barrel, the bourbon, the beer, and the coffee are definitely separate points here. And it does come off a bit thin. It does have a little bit of softer mouthfeel to it. It's just thinner. And less impactful than what I would say the beer probably was when it originally was released. Now, I'm 99% sure I had this beer when it was originally released, because it was a big to-do when Wicked Weed was released in Pennsylvania in 1718. And I've had a couple of their barrel-aged stouts, and they're really, really good. I've had a couple, and they kind of hit or misses, so I couldn't really tell you what this beer is like because I don't remember. It's not a negative beer. It just lacks what you'd expect from a 12% Imperial Stout. You want a 12% bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout with coffee, and we're kind of giving the coffee a pass here because, 3 years later, what do you expect? It's not, like I said, to me, this drink's more like a bourbon barrel-aged lightly dosed coffee porter at 8%. That's exactly what this beer drinks like. Little 8% porter that is bourbon barrel aged for a little bit. Done and done. FLX saying Kyle mentions, and by Kyle he's talking about Kyle from the Hawaii Beer Reviews, mentions all the time coffee turning into a green pepper type of vibe. Any of that? No, I'm not getting that. I don't think coffee for me turns into a green pepper thing. I do get green pepper off coffee from time to time, but I just think that's a coffee variant as opposed to coffee turns into green pepper. There's coffee beans that are so lightly roasted or so moist and rich. When you roast them, they still have they look green. They actually look green. They don't look brown. So there's certain coffees that are lightly roasted, more moist coffees, stuff that has a little bit more kind of moistness and richness to it. And if you use those kind of coffees in beer, they tend to come off a little green pepper for me. It's more of the fleshy skinniness of the bean before it's actually roasted, as opposed to an aged stout turns into a green pepper kind of thing. But I don't get this here. I just get a light coffee. I get actually a decent bittering. I think it's a combination of just a old school non-cold pressed coffee in combination with a decent roastiness from the maltiness. But that richness of the coffee, like let's say you're going to brew a bourbon barrel aged Imperial Stout at 12%. You'd want to put a roastier, beefier coffee in there, or a fruitier coffee, if that was your goal, to show against this kind of beer, like you can't put like the super light roast coffee in there. It's just going to disappear. Well, I think that's what's happening here is just that roasted component of the coffee, that richness and roastness has died off, but it's left a little bit of that coffee bittering behind, which is accentuated by the roasted maltiness. And it's not a negative thing. It actually probably, the funniest part is if this beer did thin out and did become a little bit lighter, it probably fell, but fell with the rest of the beer. So it probably was impactful the same way it is now, but in ratio, it's the same kind of impactful, but you know, it is what it is. Listen, aged beer is aged beer. You know, buying aged beer off a shelf of a coffee beer. Sure, it's a bourbon barrel aged beer, 12%, should hold up. It's not a negative beer. Like I said, it's not off. I didn't expect this to be otherworldly. I just saw it at the price point. It was $13 for a bottle, which is, you know, whatever. I was like, I'll give it a whirl. And what I got out of it is probably one of a fun experience, is what I'm looking for when it comes to ripping aged beers that I don't know are going to age fantastically off shelf. I think it ended up being a fun little experience. You know, that's what aged beer is all about. You can't have all winners when you're playing an aged beer game. But let's talk about it. Is this one of the better barrel-aged stouts that I've had as late? Let's dismiss the coffee. No, but it's not. It's not in or it's out. Let's put it in limbo because it's not a negative beer. But again, I'll reiterate what I said previously. If you rewrote this label and you said this was a 2018 8% Imperial Porter bourbon barrel aged with coffee, I would be like, this is really good, like really good. As a 12% Imperial Stout, bourbon barrel aged, that's where it really lacks, is that the bourbon barrel aging and the Imperial Stout portion of the show come off smaller, kind of, again, giving that coffee a pass. Like I said, I picked this off the shelf for $13. Anytime you pick off a beer, that was probably what it cost when it was originally released. You know, it is what it is. I'm fine with it, and leave you with, if you like what we like this, if you like drinking old beer and experimenting, because that's what this is. This isn't, oh, this beer didn't age. This coffee beer didn't age well over 3 years. Screw this place to the nth degree. No, we say screw this place because they sold to AB InBev. The beer aside, it is what it is. Jeremy said their stouts were never crazy dense. They've also pre-buyout had tons of infection issues. I remember hearing about that. I've had some really amazing Wicked Weed stouts, like randomly, as it kind of makes sense from what you're saying. But it was very few and far between. Nothing to build like a portfolio or a fan base off. It was more kind of some of their hop forward stuff, and Imperial range, and their sour stuff is kind of what really was the kind of king of the crop when it came to Wicked Weed, as far as the stuff that I had pre-AB InBev. Worldwide stouts are a little weak. Wicked Weed stouts are a little weak. And most have has an off-putting green olive taste when it begins oxidative stage. I don't get any green olive off of this. Nah, I don't think that's green olive. It could be what you describe as green olive, but I'm really kind of super sensitive to olives. Like, I actually like olive. Let me rephrase it. I despise olives. I think they're the worst thing ever. But in certain foods, I enjoy them when they're in combination with other things. Like, that's the thing. You give me an olive, I eat an olive, I go, that is fucking disgusting. But you give me like a Greek pasta salad with a ton of feta and tomatoes and shit, and you throw some olives in there, I actually like it when olives are in that. So I understand the dichotomy of like olives and what they taste like. And more often than not, I don't like olives. There's something a little bit kind of, I don't want to say caustic, but something a little bit, I wouldn't call it olive myself, but I could see somebody else drinking this and going, that's kind of like a green olive thing. So I'm not dismissing what you're saying. I'm just saying you're probably right. I'm wrong. What am I going to say? But yeah, not bad. It was a fun little jammer to do. Clean as clean can be. That's the one thing I've always, I'm not going to say it's the exception to the rule or the rule to the exception. If you open an aged beer and you look at the bottom and it is relatively clean, chances are the beer is not going to be that good. You got to have bottle carved beer in order for it to just do its thing. I think bottle carb beer is like, or just because that's the thing, like especially with aged beer. When I'm talking about aged beer, bottle carbonated beers are just that defeats the oxidative portion of the show there, or it at least helps eat it up and gobble it up to the point where it's not as negative. And I think Dylan's like, I won't drink wicked weed, and that's the thing, like. You could say, and this is a debate that's been had, and you can watch my old Wicked Weed when they sold. I did not say nice things. It is what it is. But again, I'm that dude that sits here and says, "Man, Miller High Life's delicious," and I'm the dude who sits here and I'll be like, "I'll review some Bourbon County," and then I'll be like, "Hey, look at this old, Lolita Goose Island," or I'll be like, "Hey, let me drink some, fucking Le Fin du Bon or something like that from Unibrew, or, oh, let me try this." It's like, not to make this religious. It's probably the worst thing I could possibly do, but there's so many people who are religious that cherry pick things that they believe out of the good book, and then there's other things that they just ignore because it doesn't fit their mindset and their lifestyle. They're like, the Bible says gay sex is an abomination, but then they're like, you're also not supposed to have sex before marriage. And then there's like, you're not supposed to get divorced. There's all this cherry picking shit. And that's kind of the one thing that's like, it does suck. I'm not going to sit here and say, wicked weed, woo-hoo. But are you drinking, Unibrew? Are you drinking, like Chuck's like, yeah, but sometimes I just want to drink a Willatize. Are you drinking Lagunitas? Are you drinking Goose Island? And it's like, what are you doing when you're doing that? Like, do people think that when I'm drinking this Wicked Breed right now that I'm just saying, yeah, big business, corporate, fuck yeah, motherfucker? It's one of those things where it's like, at some point you're just like, I just want good beer sometimes that it readily available at a good price point. And sometimes that's what that does. That's what facilitates that. I mean, you're talking about Willetized at fucking whatever, $13 a six pack of a coffee bourbon barrel aged stout readily available. That's fucking delicious all the time. And you're like, I'd kick my own ass for not buying it. Like, you can sit here and just like, ethics and morals your way to your fucking cows come home, but that shit's fucking delicious, And then, we always kind of harken back to the Bourbon County portion of the show and be like, everybody drinks that. And that's the penultimate version of this, Bourbon County is delicious. You just push aside Goose Island, ABM Bev, the whole nine. It's delicious. And to the point where if you actually, and this is the funny part, this is the weird part about Bourbon County in and of itself, if you actually talk to a lot of Chicago people, which I do from time to time, is that it's almost like coming around full circle to where, like, if you drink a Bourbon County and you enjoy it, a lot of Chicagoites aren't like, fuck them. They're like, nah, man, like their barrel program, the Bourbon County line is still really entrenched in Chicago, and it's not big. It's not ABM Bev. It's not being produced in another region or country or whatever. It's like that's kind of the legacy of what that brewery was. So it's almost like they've circled around because of the point where it's like they've fallen in love with that portion of the brewery that they used to know so much. So is that going to happen with the Wicked Weed? Who knows? Can it? I have no idea. I think there's too much venom on them because Wicked Weed was really the first. They were the first brewery to really take that fucking hit. You know what I mean? Like, you had, Goose Island was the first brewery, but like I've been, even right before they got bought is when we saw some Bourbon County. I knew about it, but it wasn't like I was like, Wicked Weed was like more known, more crafty, and I don't mean that as an offense to that to Goose Island, but it was like Goose Island was regional still in my brain. It was like something, okay, I'm getting something from Chicagoland, that's what I'm getting when I'm getting Goose Island back then. Wicked Weed was a little bit more kind of like in the conversation, not that they distributed nationally, but they were more in the craft beer scene. You know, they held that what was the Wicked Weed? They did the festival, the Sour Festival, where everybody said fuck you after they got bought out. You know, Goose Island, you know, there was the, you know, Chicago based kind of barrel aged stuff and all that stuff, but they were part of the, it's a weird, I'm trying to find the right words to say. I don't think, Goose Island was part of Chicago and they're definitely a craft brewery. I don't think they're a part of that kind of fraternity of national craft breweries, and that like they would go to festivals and kind of trump up business and like go around and really kind of, what's the word, network and kind of build their name within the beer community as like we're one of the stalwarts of the up and coming new school kind of craft beer community. That's what Wicked Weed was. Goose Island was not that. They were just a craft brewery that got big and got bought out. Wicked Weed was like a brewery that was like on the pulse. They were going to festivals. They were doing things. They were collabing, doing all kinds of stuff with all the other people that were like standing on that mountain, saying righteous stuff, and just being very kind of, proactive when it came to, at least on the outside they were, because obviously we ended up finding out that the people that ended up financing Wicked Weed were basically, what do they call that? I don't want just financiers. They were like money people, and they were looking to make a buck. The people that ran the operations weren't those people, but they had no say. The people that provided the money for them to open up the brewery were the people that controlled the place. So that's why what's happened, that brewery is what happened. But yeah, they were kind of more in that kind of inner circle, and that's why it hurt a little bit more, than Goose Island did. But it is what it is. So, listen. FLX says, just had a barrel aged Scotch ale last night from Central Waters. Was pretty solid. Central Waters barrel aging program is sneaky good. There's a little misses here and there, but man, I don't know if it's Peruvian evening or Peruvian morning. That beer was fucking amazing. Tiger fan chiming in. Wicked Weed made some solid session brews, but came short when they tried the specialty brews. Okay, it's a little different for me living so far away. Dude, you're talking Chicago. You need to try Riverlands Brewing. Solid. Never heard of them. Chicago in general. I mean, I have some people that have sent me beer. Chuck sent me beer before. There's people that sent me beer from like out in Illinois area. But isn't there isn't there Peruvian evening and Peruvian morning though, Chuck? Is it just Peruvian morning? Cassian Sun. Maybe it was Cassian Sunset. Oh, man. Anyway, listen, I love Central Waters barrel aging program. What's the one beer that they made? I reviewed it. Oh God, it was probably 6 years ago. It was Space Ghost? It's like their hot, spicy, chili stout with ghost peppers. Man. I can't stand huge spicy stuff, but I can get down with some like milk stout with some peppers in it, because that milk stout kind of tempers it, That shit was rocket fuel. Like, I could not mess with that shit. It was fucking awesome. Anyway, but yeah, I get a decent amount of stuff from Chicago, and I have people kind of chime about Chicago to me, so that's why I know more than I should probably. I'm dangerous enough to have a conversation, but I've never been to Chicago. I'm fully vaccinated, man. It's only a matter of time. The only thing I would say that probably pisses me off most about this beer is the density. Not necessarily do I think it's like an ultra negative. I think you can find yourself finding positives in the creamy fluffiness of this beer. I just wanted something thick, man. Like, I wanted and the fucked up part is there was a couple different beers that were there, and I was like, I could pick this one up and this one. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll do this one. I gotta find me some thick stouts this weekend. That's my goal. My fridge is filled with. I don't have a ton of beer mail in my fridge right now. All my beer is from like my trip I made over the past weekend and just random pickups. And almost all of it, I think like I want to say like 90% of what's in my fridge right now, it is like 6% or below. And it's all like half of that is clear beer. There's no like, okay, I want to bang this one, you know, none of that stuff. There's a Doppelbock in there. Done. I think that's like the biggest beer I have going on in there. So I kind of want something rich and dense, you know. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway. Okay. I probably have a couple more minutes in me, and I'm going to go veg out and watch some TV. I'm watching Sopranos. Rewatching it. Man, I love that fucking show. What else? Podcast stuff is going fun. You know, hopefully you guys listen to that stuff, watch that stuff. You know, we did, you know, a couple of brewers from, you know, Marlowe Ales. And we had Peter from Master Hoppets on. We did our brewery tour yesterday. I have some other brewers come in, some other beer tubers, all that kind of fun stuff. We still have a beer tuber, still figuring out a day. There's a beer tuber interview I think you guys will really enjoy. And that'll be fun. And yeah, just chugging along. My kid is awesome. He turned 3 months on the 17th, so a couple days ago. He's a gigantic human. He was born 9 pounds, like 9 pounds. Yeah, 9 pounds, 16 ounces. No, 16. That would be 10 pounds. 9 pounds, 12 ounces, 11 ounces. How much do I forget? And he is currently, so we're talking 3 months. He is now 16 pounds, 13 ounces. He's a juggernaut, man. He's like insane. Like there's this picture of my wife holding him. And we took a picture the other day and compared him. And it's like, he's like from neck to waist now, as far as length goes. So I haven't had a chance to really measure him. Because I think our 4 month will be in a month, but get him measured then. He's gigantic. He's growing like a weed. Yeah. Life is good, man. Carlos saying Griffin Claw Flying Bourbon Barrel Age series are some good ones. Yeah, I know Griffin Claw. How do I know Griffin Claw? Loy BV Jammers, love them. Got 12 of Cut Through the Haze, Jack's Abbey Lager. Fucking Jack's Abbey. I fucking love Jack's Abbey. Still plan on doing an update video on the iPad and how it's been working out and shit. Fuck yeah, dude. Like, listen, spoiler alert. I love that shit. I can't record videos on it. So the camera, I still use my iPhone to record videos. Like the aspect, it's not so much that the camera's not good. It's okay. It's good. It's okay. I could record videos on my iPad, but there's a subtle aspect ratio, like focal distance thing on it. That's just, I hate it. I fucking hate it. So I still have to use my iPhone, which honestly, the new iPhone comes out in a couple months. I'm getting the new one for a specific reason. I'll start doing HDR videos because I love HDR. You know, I have HDR monitors and my projector's HDR, yada. But outside of that, what I do is I record on my iPhone now, and when I'm immediately done, I just airdrop it right to my iPad. So they're all on there. And I've been editing and posting I would say 90% of my reviews that I edit and post now, pretty much all the ones with the intro and outro, because that's right around the time I started doing it, have them. And there's been a couple times where I've like gone to work, I've been driving to work, and I forgot. Sometimes I leave my iPad home for my wife to use, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot to post a video. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll get to work. I get to work. I remote into my computer at home because I back up all my files on my computer at home, and I'll edit a video the way I used to, which is in Adobe Edition. And I fucking hate it. I hate using Adobe Edition now because it's so dumb compared to the iPad, like dumb with a capital B. It's like that dumb. Like, it's like now it's like, I have this set up, like, it's just like, bang, I drop the video in on the iPad. I'm like, bang, boom, 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 click 2 things, boom, 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 done. Exports in like 6 minutes. You're talking about a 4K video, 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? Anywhere from 6 to 12 minutes, depending on the length. And then that's it. Done. The only thing I don't like about it is, and I'll be fair, is the camera. Again, like I said, I use my iPhone, so it's not like I'm using a computer, but the camera needs, it's never going to be on par with the iPhone. I'll always have an iPhone, so I'm always going to use my iPhone. I've come to grips with that. The only other thing that really does irritate the shit out of me, and this is probably the biggest issue for me with it, is I can't upload simultaneously to YouTube. So, like, let's say, like, the other day when I actually did my beer tour, when I went around Hudson Valley and Orange County, I posted 4 other half beers. It's not that I was like, I'm going to other half Saturday. I'm just like, what I want to post today. I'm like, I'll do another half beer. I'm like, and whenever I post a beer review, I look through my catalog of stuff that I have recorded. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I have 4 other halves. I was like, okay, I guess I'm putting up 4 fucking other half videos today. That's how my brain works. And, you know, I have to edit them individually, which is that, again, that's better on Premiere Pro, because then I can actually edit, then cue it, edit, then cue, the edit, then cue. But what that means is basically I put them all in queue, and then when I'm done, I hit start, and it exports and generates them all simultaneously. I can't do that in Premiere Pro, but that doesn't piss me off, because I'll like just export, go do some stuff, come around, boom, export, do some stuff. Like, that doesn't bother me. But when I go to upload them, I have to be like, upload video. And I have to wait for that video to fucking upload. Then I have to come back and go upload video. I know it sounds infinitely similar to the exporting thing, but it just pisses me off. So technically, I still use my computer, because what I'll do is I'll do everything on my iPhone, drop it to my iPad, do all the editing, all the things. And then when I'm done, I'll actually save them on my computer so I can do multiple uploads. I don't know why you're not allowed to do multiple uploads. Just let me do it, YouTube. Come on. Anyway, so there you go. I will do a follow-up video on that, because I'll show you guys what I do as far as how I edit and do all those kind of things, and just give you a little insight. It's going to be a shorter video because there's not much to it. It's so quick. Like, I actually, like, on our group chat, when I say our group chat, you know, me, my buddy Keith, Kyle from No Hype Beer Reviews, and the Nerd Sense guys, Joe from the Beer Patrol, all have a little group chat, and that we talk about. And I told them, I was like, hey man, I'm moving to this, and I think it's pretty interesting. And they were like, oh, that's cool, that's interesting. Like, because, you know, Sean from Nerd Sense more specifically is like into that kind of stuff, like, you know, editing and the nerdy stuff and all that kind of fantasticalness. And I said it was really intuitive and really fun. And I waited a couple days, and I was like, wait a minute. I was just like, fuck it. I recorded my screen. I'm like, here's me today editing my beer review for today. And it was like a 23-second video of me like doing the whole thing, from opening the program to picking my transitions to dropping the video in, editing the audio, doing all that stuff. It was like 23 seconds. And Sean's like, holy shit. You know, I don't think I expressed how easy it was. And it's just got better since then. So yeah. I'll do something. Ken says, you need to get to Ben Little from Foursquare Beer Company. The man is a mad scientist with fruit sours. Sounds like I need to come visit you, Ken. Come down there and just chug beers at Foursquare all night and hit record. That's what I think that sounds like. Tiger Fan saying, look it up. Parish Maple Shade. Get that shit. Hell, I'll send you one your way. I've had a bunch of Parish stuff, and I've dug what I've had from them. But they're kind of like that brewery that you know people trade and do all that kind of stuff and stuff like that. You want to send me one, more welcome. Reach out to me, matt@masterbeers.com, and we'll talk. Mike McCann, has there been a key sighting since your tour? He's alive. He's alive. I know he's alive because he's been posting on Instagram. But yeah. Keith, you know, after we do our little things, you know, Keith usually takes a couple days off. But you have to understand, too, in Keith's defense, 2 things. One, he was passenger. He didn't have to drive. He can get shitty. I would have done the same. I probably would have been quite a bit more shitty, because I didn't have to drive if I wasn't driving. And 2, Keith literally was like, I'm not drinking beer for a month, and then went on a all-day excursion with me drinking beer. That's some shock and awe shit right there. So, yeah, Keith gets a pass. Modelo has a bourbon barrel aged in tequila lager series now too. You can get them in tap They're mighty good, crisp and crushable. Bourbon barrel aged tequila lager. I love tequila merit lager. I don't even know what that is. Bourbon barrel aged tequila barrel aged reserve. Oh, okay. Okay. Tequila barrel aged reserve. Okay, so it's tequila. I'm not a big tequila. Ken's like, yes. Frederick, Maryland is where it's with breweries. Let me know where it's at with breweries. Frederick, Maryland. Buddy, I think I have something going on right now. Look up Frederick, Maryland real quick. Oh, bud. Ken, I might be coming to visit, buddy. So there's a sheep and wool festival. Like, it looks like it's almost like half a fucking mile outside of where you live. And my wife has always wanted to go there. And like, she's like, I want to go. We just never made it down because my wife makes yarn for a living. We've gone to like Rhinebeck and Vermont and all that kind of stuff, but we've never gone to the Maryland one. She's always wanted to go to the Maryland one. And I'm just looking at the map and remembering, I think it's like probably maybe 20, 30 towards like Woodbine, Lisbon, that area, Edelsburg, something. So maybe 30, 40 minutes like east of you. I think I can make this work. My wife goes to the festival. We don't go to the festival, or we go to the festival and then go to the beer afterwards. Doesn't matter. Charles asking, do you make your own homebrews? No, I don't. I've homebrewed before on my own and with friends. I've technically pro-brewed before. But no, I've done, if you actually go back in my archive videos, you'll see that we've done some homebrew, kind of like, we didn't do homebrew videos like where we're making homebrew, but we're actually recording a bunch of beer videos while we're homebrewing. And it was mainly with my buddy Joe, who's now a brewer at River Horse. So I've done it, but I'm just not a homebrew guy. You know, listen, some people like to build race cars. Some people like to drive them. I like to drive race cars. I just don't want to build the race car. I just like the race car. I like to go fast. I can't believe I just quoted Ricky Bobby. God damn it. What do I do with these now? But yeah. Now, I've brewed before, but I'm not a brewer. I would never say I'm a brewer and never say I'm a home brewer, but I've done it. I understand the process. And yeah. FLX saying, yep, need that video for sure. I'm looking to up my editing game from beginner to somewhat mediocre. Well, I'm absolutely not I'm way less than mediocre. So you're not stepping anything up. I mean, you're probably better editing videos than I am right now, because I'm up until a month ago, all I did was cut the beginning of my video, cut the end of my video, and put it on YouTube. Like, that was my extent of video editing expertise. So I'm definitely offer not much as far as insight into how to do that stuff, but I'll post it anyway. Ken's like, let's go. Let me know ahead of time and bring the family. Well, definitely, we got kids. I got kids. Gotta do kids. And who's Keith? And where the hell has Mark Ruffalo been? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying anything but that. And Charles says, do you mind the beers with wax tops? You have to cut up. I don't. You want to have a conversation? I actually technically have this beer. I'll slide this over. We're done with this. It didn't go off screen. I love wax top beers. I love them because I think they serve a purpose. I think wax top beers serve a beautiful purpose, which is aiding in the lack of air, negative oxygen, that goes into long haul barrel aged beers. My problem sits with, why the fuck is there wax on beers that aren't that? You know, there's a lot of breweries that like wax beers because then they're like, okay, it's waxed. It looks special. It's like this says wax on it, so it's got to be special. It's got to be more expensive because it has wax on it. And there's a lot of beers like that, you know, that have wax on them. Or like, you know, it's like this waxed 750 of a 13,653 adjunct laden non-bottle conditioned imperial stout and be like, you shouldn't age that. Like, don't age that. And for me, in my brain, my old school puny beer brain says, when I see wax, I see age. I see wax, that beer, they're telling me this beer should be aged, but can be aged. Now, it's not tried and true. There's a bunch of beers that don't have wax on it that can be aged. But when I see wax, immediately I need you to go, okay, I could age this beer. A good look at him. I go, you know what I mean? It's not the beer that it's not bottle conditioned. It's low in ABV. You know, obviously there's exceptions to roll with that. You know, there's some, you know, Saison, you know, there's some, you know, Lambics, things like that. They're low in ABV and not, you know, whatever. But that's where that kind of came from for me. So I'm fine with wax bottle stuff. Now this, rest in peace, Tommy. I'm gonna talk a little shit on him, but he's okay because we talked about it. So this was a bourbon barrel. This is a bourbon barrel aged stout that was waxed. But not only was it waxed, it was a Grolsch flip top that was waxed. It took me like, you can go watch the review of this beer. It took me like minutes to like pick all the wax out of this in order to get this beer open. There was no reason for this beer to be waxed. It was more for kind of presence and show. He just passed away, the guy who made this beer a month and a half ago. Keegan Ales up in the Hudson Valley makes great beers. Shit on his beer just because that wax. Didn't shit on the beer, shit on the wax thing. And he was more than great just to talk about it and kind of have chuckle with me. But, you know, that's dumb. Like, that's dumb wax. But then you have, like, you know, beer like this, which is King. This is one of their anniversary beers, one of their Solero Belgian quads. It's a Belgian quad. It's a blend of Belgian darks at 11.8%. This beer should be waxed, especially if you plan on aging that beer for any extended period of time, because it'll help keep out a little bit of negative oxygen. So I don't mind wax beers at all. I just mind when people wax them for no reason whatsoever. Wax tops are a bitch, bro, unless a useless beer condom. No, I mean, they serve a purpose. Cheers, Matt, from Joe Gansel. And where do you sell your beers at? The thought just popped in my head, and I'm curious. I don't sell her a ton of beer. I drink all my beer. I sell them right here, buddy. No, I have a small little, underneath my beer fridge in like a box. But now my beer fridge is in the cellar. You know what I mean? Heat rises. It's about this far away, 3 feet away from my beer fridge. So I don't think heat's really doing anything to it. And I just put them in regular, just case packs. You know, just throw them in there. Let them have that. But there's not a ton. Like, if I showed you my cellar, it'd be like two cases of beer. That's it. There's not a ton. Well, that's not true. Technically, when my kid was born, I bought 4 cases of beer to age. So technically I have 6. But as far as like my non-kid stuff goes, like, it's like only like 2 cases of beer. It's not that much because I drink my beer. Because if I get one beer, like, let's say if I get like whatever XYZ beer, you know, I want to taste what it tastes like fresh. And if I don't have another one, so be it. If I have the other one down the road, then I'll be like, oh, not only do I have a video recording of that, I also have a little bit of mental recognition. Let's dive in and now see how it's changed. The thing that's annoying about aged beer is drinking it and then going, man, I wish I could know what this tasted like fresh. You know, now you could also make the argument and be like, well, then buy more. Well, you know, I'll buy 4. I'll be like, that was really good. Then I'll drink another one. And I'll have family over, friends, and I'll be like, oh, you guys got to try this beer. Like, I'm that guy. I just can't help myself. So I don't have a big cellar. Let's put it that way. There you go. I think I'm almost done. We're almost at an hour now. Jesus Christ. So we're at 49 minutes and 40 seconds on this live stream. That leaves us 10 minutes till we do a clean, crisp 1 hour. So if you guys got any questions, comments, let me know. I'm gonna sign off exactly at 60 minutes. So you got 10 minutes now running on the clock. So yeah, no, this is fun, man. I got a little lineup of beers. I'm gonna hang out. I'm gonna try to play some video games tonight. It's been like a month since I played any video games. I just want to hang out and veg out. It's been a lot of like, before this, hang out with the kid, after this, hang out with the kid, which I love. I'm not saying screw this. Like, my kid is the best. He's the coolest kid in history. I kind of want to hang out with him, but I just want to play a little video games tonight. Hang out, do a little bit of fun stuff. We'll see what happens. So, anyway. Oh, Mike, we're still waiting for Micah to grow into that fucking jersey, by the way. That's why I haven't taken any pictures yet. Anyway, wait, you sent me the Homebrew one too. I think that one's fitting now. We're gonna take a picture of that. Anyway, I love Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I think he's fantastic. I would actually love that he worked himself in the squad and became something, but at this point, I think he's got to go. That's it. I mean, he's been away from the squad long enough. It feels like he's like something. Just he's not part of the squad anymore. Like that's just the vibe I get. I think Arsenal's looking to create something new. Not that they don't want to keep the players that they have, but I think Maitland-Niles is a little bit of kind of like old guard. Even though he's young as fuck, but he's been in Arsenal for a couple of years, played quite a bit. I think he's actually a really great player. I just don't think he, one, fits our style for the position that he wants to play, and two, you can get a couple bucks for him and maybe buy somebody that we really want to do with Arteta at the home. Let's put it this way. If you're going to talk about Maitland-Niles versus Mikel Arteta, I'm Mikel Arteta versus Maitland-Niles. I mean, I have to lean in that direction right now, but if I was another Premier League club, I don't think he's going to go to somebody like, he's not Man City or United or any of that. But if I was any of the other clubs, I'd be chomping at the bit to sign him because I think he's a fantastic player and has an amazing future to the point where I might come back and bite Arsenal, because that's a word, Arsenal in the butt, because I think he's just that good. I really enjoy him. He's actually, I buy jerseys every year or two. So I don't buy him a ton because I don't like the turnover. So, oh God, going over the past couple of years, my most recent jersey purchase is a Bellerin jersey. He's gone. Before that, I think it was an Ozil jersey. Before that, it might have been a Walcott. Actually, I think it was a Walcott. And then before that was like Henry. Then before that was Henry. Then before that was Bergkamp. Then before that was Henry. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I debated a Maitland-Niles. I was like, maybe I should get a Maitland-Niles jersey. That's how much I really enjoyed him. Now you gotta have that other conversation right now. If I had to purchase an Arsenal jersey to wear, who would it be? Kieran Tierney, probably. Let's put it this way. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's actually kind of a long shot now, an extreme long shot. But if he signs permanent Odegaard, I will buy an Odegaard jersey. You can have Zaha. I don't want Zaha, man. No, let me rephrase that. I want Zaha, but I want him for $15, $18 million. And as a second striker, I don't want him for fucking $60 million. Fuck that noise. You can keep Zaha. He's one of those players where I want him on my squad, but I don't want him. At the same time, every time I play him, I don't want to play him because he can always score. I actually, and this is me, just now it's Matt Massive Arsenal reviews. I I actually kind of don't want us to make a bunch of moves in the silly season and just actually like kind of stick to our guns because I think we have a really good team. Like Odegaard is the big thing. Like, you know, like now we're trying to get Odegaard, but then like, you know, they're like, hey, we'll give you Odegaard if you give us Emil Smith Rowe. I'm like, well, I don't want to fucking give you that. Like, no, get money. Just we'll give you money. Because if you're talking about, you know, we're definitely going to have a need for striker in the next couple of years. But, you know, Lacazette and Aubameyang is still fantastic. But I'm thinking big picture in a couple of years down the road. That's why Zaha doesn't fix. I think 2-3 years down the road, it's like, fuck, we still got to get somebody else. You know, if you have, you know, Bukayo Saka, which looks like he's the fucking MVP of fucking Euros right now for England. You're talking about Odegaard. If we can get him in there, we're talking about the other guy, Emil Smith Rowe. And we have Kearney in the back. Kieran Tierney. I put the names together. And then you have that, you know, Saliba in there. You got Martinelli possibly in there. You have like a really good foundation of really young players. We need a goalie. Crazy like. I like Bert Leno, but he just, again, 2 years down, not the thing. We need a goalie. We need a playmaking midfielder. That's why we need Odegaard. And then after that, I still like Pepe. I think Pepe had a really great run coming in the year. So, yeah. Yeah. I'm very, very optimistic about Arsenal's future. But then again, I'm an Arsenal fan. That's how it works. I'm optimistic till 3 weeks in the season. I'm like, fuck this. Fuck everything. I hate everybody. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. Jeremy's like, oh, well, I stepped out for a month and came back to a strange conjuncture in the conversation. Or strange juncture. Just opened up a bottle of Viathan from IS Was in Chicago. Was. I have had stuff from them. I know what you're talking about. Got to check them out. Saison mixed fermented brew. I had Was. What did I review from Was? I know that. There was something, right? After I look this up, we're going to sign off, by the way. I'm going to go relax and hang out. Was. Is it a hot butcher beer? I don't know. I remember having something from Was. I don't know. But I remember that. Maybe I reviewed it and never actually or filmed it and never actually posted it. I don't know. But I remember having something from Was. It's got to be Hot Butcher. Honestly, it's got to be. They had to do a collab with them. I'm almost picturing what it is in my brain. So anyway. Okay. We're signing off. Yeah, I'll put you in Hopewell. Yes. Okay. I know I had something from them. But you're talking about mixed culture saison. It's something a little bit different. So we'll see what's what. So there you go. A little bit of chat, a little bit of live beer review. Not the best beer in history, mankind, but we had a fun time doing it. A little bit of chat afterwards. Hopefully you guys had a good time. So yeah, Thursday night leading into Friday. I'm sure there will be a little bit of more live hangouts coming this weekend. Yeah, that's it. We're done. Hopefully, guys had a awesome night. Mike saying Afterthought makes some killer saisons in Chicago. Looks like I have to come to Chicago then. So hopefully, you guys enjoyed this little live broadcast, impromptu, if you will. Hopefully, you're enjoying some good beer right now, and we'll see you next time.